Nigeria holds the global record of being the 11th largest oil producing country. The petroleum industry accounts for about 9% of Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, and almost 90% of all export value. The sector, with its potential to transform the Nigerian economy, has not lived up to its expectation, as several challenges seem to have hampered its contribution and growth.
Investment in petrochemicals, making the best of our gas resources, and bringing back our oil resources to life are three things that I think we can do to make the best of the oil and gas resources that God has bestowed us with.
Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu scrapped the age-long subsidy on premium motor spirit in May 2023, putting an end to all forms of subsidy in the oil and gas sector, or so it seems.
I'm a businessman. If you tell me that a product is going to arrive into this country at 670 or 700, and you're asking me to sell it for 550 so that the citizens can be able to get it at a good price, by which you can be able to keep a stable pump price. Now you have to actually pay me for it. That's the truth. You must pay me for the differential.
In reaction to the way that removal has affected the market, there's a possibility that government did a pause at some point, and that although we have removed subsidy, but some elements of that subsidy might actually still be there as we speak.
This removal plunged many Nigerians into untold hardship, as it was followed up with the floating of Nigeria's foreign exchange rate. Calls for palliatives and structural measures to ease the pressure on Nigerians became rife as the price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, saw a jump to 617 naira from 189 naira before the subsidy was removed.
Pre-inauguration, you could spend as much as 11,000 naira to fill up your 55-litre tank. After inauguration, that quickly moved to 27,000 naira. But with the latest announcement, you could spend as much as 31,000 naira filling up the same tank. That's over 200% increase in cost.
As part of measures to ease the pressure, the presidency then announced an initiative to switch to a cheaper and cleaner fuel, compressed natural gas, which the nation hardly had an existing infrastructure for. This was then followed up with the launch of conversion centers in some cities.
Before we talk about CNG, have we been able to repackage the gas sector very well? Because the truth there is that for CNG to effectively work in a country like Nigeria, you need CNG stations.
The other part is, after you have converted, will people be able to have regular access, like they drive into any filling station and buy their PMS? Where are the infrastructure for dispensing CNG or LPG? Are they as pervasive as we would like them to be? So the investment that needs to go into that area, is there an incentive that we use to drive the private sector to put investment in that space? Those are the kind of things that will help us to be able to create a viable alternative energy to support the removal of PMS subsidy in the market.
As the sector suffered setbacks, it trickled into Nigeria's foreign reserves. With a similarly depleted forex market, the exchange rate dealt a heavy blow to businesses and Nigerians as a whole. And although Dangote Refinery was already launched at this time, the government once again resuscitated talks about getting Nigerian refineries up and running. Not only that, the efforts of the government to scale up crude oil production also seemed to have yielded results, as the country recorded a boost with 1.35 million barrels per day in October. This is expected to rise to 1.5 million barrels per day in 2024, and in line with OPEC's reviewed 2024 quota, which is also 1.5 million barrels per day.
The question is, if the budget is being done at 1.9 barrels and we are 1.3 or 1.2, and we knew it took us how many months, maybe like a year or more, to get from that 1 million to 1.2 or 1.3, is it realistic that we'll be able to rev up to 1.9, 1.8, 1.9 within a year, such that the money will come in good time for us to spend in 2024.
Going into the next fiscal year, 2024, is the government on the right path? And what more must it do to maximize production?
It is not enough to say we are doing some work at Port Harcourt Refinery. It will soon start to produce. It must produce. It's the output that we are actually waiting for. At the same time, we're looking forward to the private refineries being able to join. Now, this has implications for foreign exchange, both from the perspective of conserving foreign exchange. If we are refining here, it means that the money we are spending importing refined product will be taken out of the equation. The other part is that we have all this production happening in the country, we will produce more than we can consume, and we can begin to export.
Underinvestment and unrest in the oil-producing Delta region has squeezed Nigeria's oil output from around 2 million barrels per day 5 years ago, depriving the government of much-needed revenue. Looking ahead to 2024, the government must prioritize efficient refinery operations, foreign exchange stability, and sustain efforts to meet OPEC quotas for a more resilient and prosperous oil and gas sector. Perpetua Fasamipita reporting for News Central.